Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/rive to receive the top 10 stocks to buy right now. MGM Resorts reported first quarter 2023 results this week, and I think they were really impressive. Showed just how strong Las Vegas is and showed a rapid recovery in Macau. That was the biggest gaming market by about 6 times the size of the Las Vegas Strip before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, China's shutdown actually impacted Macau really heavily. But the change to eliminate zero COVID in China has had a big impact on Macau. Revenue is recovering really quickly. It's already about half of what it was pre-pandemic. And if Las Vegas is any indication, we could see it exceed pre-pandemic levels from a revenue and earnings standpoint. So I want to dig into the numbers here and talk about why I'm still excited about MGM Resort stock. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Rev Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content and turn on those notifications as well. Let's get right to the results. And I'm going to go to the earnings presentation here because the consolidated results are a little bit confusing. So it's nice that MGM breaks things down to its major segments: Las Vegas, regional casinos, Macau, and then also the online gaming business. This is the Las Vegas operations. You can see that revenue is up 30% from a year ago. That was actually a really strong quarter a year ago was. So adjusted EBITDA of $836 million for a single quarter. That's incredibly impressive for the Las Vegas Strip. Here's what I think is really interesting. Casino revenues were not actually up. They're actually down in the quarter. That's partly because of bad luck, but you can see the table game drop and slot handle, which is a measure of the amount of volume of betting that's going on in casinos, were up in the teens. So not a huge increase there, nowhere near the amount of revenue or EBITDA growth that we had. But hotel revenue up 43%. Occupancy was up tremendously. Day rates were up. So demand is just through the roof in Las Vegas right now, and that's really driving results for MGM Resorts. Regional casinos, a little bit different. Now, if you remember, regional casinos weren't hit nearly as hard by the pandemic as Las Vegas was, and especially as Macau was, but results are still pretty strong. What we would expect from this is just kind of slow but steady results. You want just a steady amount of cash flow or EBITDA coming off of these properties. And that's exactly what we're seeing, exactly the same as it was a year ago. So no real big surprises there. MGM China is the surprise. $618 million in revenue for the quarter. That's up from $268 million a year ago and getting within reach of what they had in the first quarter of 2019. Adjusted property EBITDA, so that's that proxy for cash flow coming from resorts, $169 million, down from $193 million 4 years ago. What we're seeing here is revenue hasn't quite recovered to where it was before the pandemic, but as MGM and other companies cut costs, now we're seeing operating leverage on the bottom line and in that cash flow. So as we see a continued recovery, it wouldn't be surprising to see cash flow and earnings actually be a little bit better, even if revenue is flat. What I want to show here is the rapid increase that we've seen in Macau's gaming results. This is directly from the Gaming Inspection and Coordination Bureau in Macau. You can see that the first 4 months of the year, we're going on 450% revenue increases from a year ago. This is about half of what we would expect, a little over half of what we would expect from normal operating conditions in the 2019 range. So now starting to look pretty normal in Macau, and it looks like that momentum is continuing month by month. The Osaka development in Japan continues to move forward slowly but surely. Initial investment is expected to be about $10 billion there, but that's another big potential growth market for MGM. So look for more on that going forward. This is not a done deal by any stretch, but if it does end up getting built, this could be a highly profitable casino. The final thing I want to look at is the balance sheet. So we talked about EBITDA and the amount of cash flow that MGM is generating. The company has about $7 billion in debt, is now leasing most of its properties. So it does have that expense. You can see what that expense is right here, about $1.7 billion per year in cash rent. But it also has a really good balance sheet with $6.2 billion in total liquidity. $4.5 billion of that is cash. And the reality right now is that MGM could use some of that cash to lower its debt load. It could buy back shares because there's not a lot of places it's going to be able to expand. Outside of Japan, there's just simply not a lot of places to expand in the US, in Macau, or even in regional markets. The gaming business has just performed extremely well coming out of the pandemic. We saw Las Vegas recover more quickly than most parts of the economy and is now generating record revenue by a wide margin. If that trend continues in Macau, we could see just an absolute boom in cash generation for a company like MGM Resorts. That gives the company a lot of flexibility to, like I said, pay down debt, return money to shareholders, because the reality right now is there's not a lot of ways that they can invest that money in organic growth. That's the challenge and the benefit of being a casino company right now. This is a very mature market. It takes multiple billions of dollars to build a casino in Las Vegas or in Macau or even in a lot of regional places. So that means that supply is relatively constant. And as demand increases, that means cash flow for these companies. So that's one of the reasons I think that MGM is really well positioned. It's got some of the best resorts in Las Vegas, doing really well in Macau. This should be an absolute cash machine for investors for at least the next decade. But what do you think about results? I'd love to hear your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to follow Rev Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you again next time.